Welcome into another One Piece breakdown. Today we're going to be looking at chapter 1074. We have two amazing people here hosting this video. We have me, myself. They call me Jack the Ripper because I rip into these One Piece chapters like there's no tomorrow. Just like how the Zodiac Killer left unhinged messages to the cops, Parvision is here to decipher them like the poneglyph. So, with that being said, let's hop right into the chapter.
The first scuff, if you want to cut, the second scuff where you said hinged comments.
Hey, nobody is going to know what you're talking about. Just know that I might have went a little bit off on the Zodiac Killer part. So, onto the cover page, we have the three goated mad scientists all finally fighting each other off. And we can probably assume that this is when the Mads team starts to disband. What do you think of this cover page? Are you a big fan of it? I know that Wimpy, Vegapunk isn't here, so I'm glad he's missing. All we have are the goats.
It's interesting because, again, I always go back to this. It's the Germa cover story. So, I always focus on Judge and Germa on this.
Yeah.
He start in this previous chapters, when he saw this, you didn't see the 6-6 belt, I'm pretty sure.
Nope.
And this is interesting because we've seen them 3 different times, at the start, I'm guessing, sometime in between when he got the prize, or before the prize when they're making their inventions, and then now. So you kind of see a screenshot of the years going by.
Yeah.
And some are better.
It's like a yearbook.
Time is kinder to some, more so than others. I think Judge is, in his own words, not slaying the ladies like he once did. It's Caesar. Is this the first time we've seen?
Always looks good, bro.
Is this the first time we've seen the actual fruit, him just full Logia? In the previous one, we saw the thing,
cloak,
right?
Yeah.
Did we see that or no?
I think it could be the Mandela effect, but I think we did see the Caesar cloak in the previous cover pages too. Yeah, but they've all upgraded, man. You got Caesar full Logia form, like you said. We have Queen a little bit bigger. He has the augmented arm as well. And Judge has the 66, which makes you wonder how he came up with the 66 in the first place. And if he formed Germa by this point, which could happen. I mean, I guess he could have, little Sanji, Yonji, and Ichiji all hooking up in a little lab pod right now. That could be a possibility.
Or this is still, we don't know what timeline this is, but this is probably before they're there, right?
Yeah.
Because I would imagine, because Reiju was born first. I forget how much older she is, but and prior to Reiju, they already started their kingdom. So from this, it's interesting because it seems like Germa started while Mads still was a thing. Yeah. And that's interesting to me because what's also concurrent with this timeline is the start of the Beast Pirates. So, and in the flashback, I don't think we saw Queen. And now I'm questioning, when did Queen join Kaido? I don't know. It's weird. Because now I'm oh wait, was this Queen part of the Beast Pirates while Judge is part of the German 66 while they're both on Mads? It's such an interesting, mix of things at this moment. But other than that, the cover story isn't really that interesting. We just see another iteration of them. But I'm more curious about where this goes because I'm assuming now that we see Judge, wearing the German 66 attire. And here's one other thing that has to happen. We're probably going to understand where Sora comes in, right? Because if this is a German cover story, so I would imagine maybe in 2 cover stories we get Sora. Maybe Sora's from one of the kingdoms that they conquered. Maybe it's the first kingdom.
Like a Princess Peach situation, Judge just kidnaps her out of a castle.
Yeah, and then she
gets Stockholm syndromed and she's like, yes, I love Judge.
Yeah,
Judge is a great guy.
Sora's character is so weird because she genuinely seemed like she was on board with having kids with, you know what I mean?
I mean, maybe Judge has his own soft side,
like a Riz.
Maybe we just never saw the Judge Riz, right? Maybe Oda just didn't want to draw it in. And I mean, there's still things with Judge that we haven't seen yet, right? I feel like there's a lot more with Germa that we just haven't uncovered. And as the story goes on, maybe we'll learn more about Judge then. I don't feel like it has to be revealed here just yet.
True.
Like Judge's love life, right? Was Sora the first date? Was that a second date kind of thing? Like, how many girls did Judge Riz before that?
So
was it
here's the
artificial
thing.
Riz? Was it like human Riz? Like, we don't really know.
Judge did get his glow up here, and what typically happens for a lot of guys is they glow up after of their first like real girl, situation.
Yeah.
Because the girl either helped or they recognize the importance of appearance a little bit. So it could be that Sora's already in the picture. Because let me tell you, Judge was not.
I thought Judge looked good. He
looked like All Might. He looked like anemic All Might. What do you?
There
mean?
was nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that like All Might prior isn't he? You know what I mean? Like he's not the icon. You know what you get it, right? Like it's like Bakens versus Stussy. It's like
hey, people age, man. Like Miss Bakens right now in the current story, she's still a looker, man.
She's still a looker.
Old women need love, bro. All I gotta say.
God.
God. Young Gravy would not like this take from you, Par.
Young Gravy is going after moms, not grandmoms. Chat, comment section, let me know. Is Bakens a looker? I need to understand size community.
Hey. Miss Bakens is a looker. We gotta defend our grandmas, guys. Come on, stand with the unity. Par doesn't like grandmas, and you know how it is.
Okay. Supporting grandmas and them being lookers are different, okay? Like, let's get that straight. I'm supporting grandmas.
If there was an old lady on the street right now, Par, and let's say she was maybe a little bit scuffed, right? Maybe a little bit scuffed. But she was like, young man, do you think I'll ever find love? Do you think anyone will ever love me? Would you say yes or no to her?
There's someone for everyone, but there's no grandma here right now. All right?
So somebody out there in the world probably thinks that Miss Bakken is quite the looker.
But are you that somebody? And is your community that somebody?
You know what? To make an old lady smile, I would gladly take the bullet, Par. I'm a nice guy.
I would too, but there's no grandma here. There's no bullet being taken right now.
You know that meme of like the soldier with his arms spread out and like the kid sleeping at night? That's me and grandma. Like I'm taking all the bullets, protecting her feelings.
Okay, all right, Sai. I need to know how many what would this be called? Like, it's not MILF Manor Cougar. It's more. This is like
the dusty catacombs.
No,
yeah,
not the catacombs.
So, okay. Onwards with the chapter, though. Egghead Island, we cut over to the Fabrio phase, and we see that our goated CP0 agents are being attacked by these evil pacifistas, the Mark III pacifistas, and they have a pretty cool ability. They have the ability of what seems to be slime, which is, it's pretty cool, pretty dope. It reflects the explosion back at the Cyberpol agents that we all know and love, and then we get introduced to them. And then they make a little comment saying that they are stronger than the prototypes used in the Paramount War. And what are your immediate thoughts on this pacifista? Because, I think he's kind of dripped out, dude. These guys look pretty dope. And the ability is really interesting, too. It kind of reminds me of, like, water bending in a way.
It does.
Like, they have that
slime
avatar flow going on.
Thing. Just now, when you said slime, it made me think. I was just like, wait. It's not slime. What the hell is Sai saying? But then I was just like, what I said in the live reaction was like, oh, is it a bubble like Kuma's bubble? Like, did he learn how to harness that? But the way he's using it is a little bit different. Like it looks like he coats his fist in it. And what I realized is like, wait a second. This is almost like colonialism, almost like Vegapunk. They're like, Vegapunk invented bubbles. I was like, wait a second, we had bubbles. Rayleigh coated a ship in bubbles. Fishman Island has bubble gear that they shoot out bubbles, and so I just realized that it might just be like the bubble resin. Wands. Yeah, it could be like a really good
resin.
And they're just giving it to the Vegapunk because he's like, oh, it's the same thing with Sea Stone, right? Like, they're like, oh, Vegapunk is so smart for making up the Sea Stone thing. And it's like, wait a second. That was a Wano thing. But Vegapunk is just
Wano people aren't affiliated with the world government, Par. Come on.
So that's what I'm saying. It's the colonizers, bro. Vegapunk is a colonizer. No,
hey, another reason why Caesar is better. That's all I heard, right? Thank you, Par, for coming to my side. I appreciate it.
No. Hey, I'll have you know, I read the comment section last time.
It was half. It was half.
It was not.
It was half and half. People like Caesar. Dude, I rewatched Punk Hazard.
Don't make me count it. Don't make me go back
Punk Hazard, and let me tell you, Caesar is so goated.
I don't care. Your comment section was not
the
half.
devil fruit. Like, everything about Caesar is way better than VP. And now you're just saying that Vegapunk is a colonizer. And I was like, you know what? That makes sense.
Listen,
like, another L for the man.
I don't care if Caesar's cool. Caesar could be cool. My point, I'm choking. My point was that it wasn't half. Your comment section was on my side. Then.
They were not. Okay, we'll count this after this. I will take a pinned comment to this video of what the final tally was. And you're going to be so shocked when Caesar has like 5 million points. And VP has maybe 2 people.
And then we go back and we hear what you said. You said, I don't want to hear any sound takes.
Because people who like Vegapunk have no opinion, Par. Come on. It's obvious.
Like I almost think about it like this. You know how Fisherman Island, like it's there because it's in a bubble, right? And we don't know how that bubble even formed. We don't know the tech around it. I imagine like in the last war, maybe they'll need like a bubble tech and you just see all the pacifistas just
creating
like
a giant bubble.
Yeah, together. That'd be kind of sick. And that's where like my mind is kind of going like, how does this ability and why would Oda insert the pacifistas and how could that be used later on? Well, we've seen how bubbles have been used. It might be that like maybe something needs to go underwater, like, or maybe all these pacifistas get refitted post story and they take Rayleigh's job. They're all ship coders.
Oh my gosh,
that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, but
they get jobs after all this. I think the bubble is pretty important because like it could have been anything, right? They're a combat weapon. That's what these pacifistas are. And when you think of combat, you don't go to bubble, right? When I think of combat, I think of like grinding someone to a pile of dust, right? Maybe like a fire beam that will eviscerate their bone shards. But instead we have bubbles. And it's like, you know what? Maybe Vegapunk is onto something. Maybe this is a hint towards something later too.
Yeah.
But
they're just glorified bubble blowers now.
Yeah.
Now think about it.
They're straight from the SpongeBob universe.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Man. Shout out to the SpongeBob game Cosmic Shake. That was good. Which brings us to today's sponsor, Era of Kings, a giant One Piece MMORPG server which allows for each player to play however they want. With over 50 classes and devil fruits, each one being unique and having its own niche. You can also expect a very welcoming community and constant player activity along with content that can last for endless hours of playtime. Go and explore the Grand Line or fight a Yonko in the New World. The server has a custom equipment system with over 500 items to choose from and play with, accessories, wares, gloves, and belts. There's also a custom stat system which allows you to create your own path. Choose whatever fruit you like and customize your own combat style in any way of fighting. No 2 players will be the same, so come explore an expansive custom lore with no spoilage to the actual anime or manga, which would allow for anyone, even longtime One Piece fans, to have a great time exploring a new world with new One Piece content. So come forge a new path in the giant world of One Piece, Era of Kings. And if you ever buy anything, use code SYV in store to help support me. The link to their Discord server will be linked down below as a pinned comment, so go check them out. We see the homeboys, Cypherpole Zero, all our best buddies over here getting taken down one by one. I feel really bad for them. And then we see that Sentomaru was actually the one who sucked the pacifistas onto them. Or sucked.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah, sicked. One of those words, you know? Sentomaru, A-okay. It's just a flesh wound. I don't know why he has like band-aids on his leg and arms and everything when he got hit with the handgun, but you know, we're not gonna question it.
No, I was thinking about that, like the handgun thing, like where I thought that went straight through the gut, yeah. But like it looks like he got stomped on after.
Yeah,
like he was there on the ground and the CP0 agents just like beating.
Yeah, if you really look at Sentomaru, he has like a bandage on his head, forearm, and leg, and those are like all the places that he just didn't get hit. And he has no band-aid on like his chest, which got the handgun bullet. It's like, what is going on here?
I'm just imagining, like, you know, the anime, they put in extra scenes.
Yeah.
And like, you just get a scene where the suited agents are just stomping on him. That would be background.
So funny. Yeah, the anime gives this context. They're just kicking him like while he's down. And then Sentomaru's just like, Luffy, why did you take me with you? Luffy, I'm still alive, please.
Like Jinbei Chopper looked at it and was like, ain't no way, bro, because he's so big. They're like, no one's sticking his ass.
Like, Chopper picked up Atlas, and then Jinbei's just like, he looked at Sentomaru and was like, nah, I can't pick that up. I'll see you later, man. He's dead. My observation hockey says he's done for.
Yo, even better. The wounds that he got, like, that are bandaged, are Jinbei and Chopper trying to pick him up. Yeah. And they dropped him.
That's where he got the head wound from. Dropped him like a baby.
They're trying, and then he dropped him. He's like, just go on without me. And they're like, no, let's try again. They pick him by his arm.
He just gets more and more damaged. Goodness. I could see that. That sounds like a One Piece gag.
That does sound like a One Piece gag. But you know,
Sentomaru looks scuffed.
What's more, I think, not more interesting, but Oda decided to put like a carrot meme in the background. There's this boombox headed kid. There's
a washing machine.
Like I what you said on the live stream like hit me differently. I was just like, yeah, like Oda doesn't usually give background characters this much context, right? Fisherman Island made sense because we actually went like the Mermaid Cafe. We like saw civilians get beat down, and they talked to like the Goku and all the little triplet or quintuplet kids or whatever. We saw those people, but we didn't. At no point are we interacting with any of these people.
Yeah,
they're just
we have not talked to a single person yet, minus like BP.
Taking the time to like draw these people consistent. Like, look in the panel above. You see the same characters in the same position.
Yeah. Dude, and it's like they're treating Sentomaru like he's a town hero or something, which makes sense, right? He has authority.
True.
Like you said, I do wonder if we'll eventually get some backstory or interaction with the citizens, because we kind of got that when Atlas was around, right? We saw like the recycle curve, we saw like that random one-off girl, but that was kind of it. So yeah. I wonder if they will play a role at some point. Sentomaru goes on and he says that, you know, the Navy doesn't know that he's a rebel now, and we see that his Den Den Mushi is ringing off like no tomorrow. And I thought this was really interesting. Because this reminds me of Sabaody, where Sentomaru was endlessly calling Kizaru, but he didn't pick up. This almost feels like a reverse situation where maybe Kizaru is on the other end of the line, and he's like, Sentomaru, what are you doing? Are you still on our side? But yeah, Sentomaru not picking up that phone.
Yeah, I mean, like, truthfully, this chapter, like, even at this point, it's like it feels like set up for like. It's a transitional chapter, right?
Yeah.
But like this is also where when people talk about pacing or whatever, this is the chapter
we need this.
where in the anime it gets extended heavily, and they'll give us a little bit more context. Now the question is how much of that context is treated as canon, because then they can throw in some random stuff too. Because like what we were saying about these side characters, who knows? Maybe this boombox girl gets like a whole side story that Oda wrote. Right?
Yeah, or the boombox girl's looking for Radio Man. Maybe the Cyberpole agents versus the Mark III pacifistas, like the Straw Hats versus Kuma back on Sabaody.
Yeah.
It's like 5 episodes long.
Yeah. And like we're breezing by it in the manga, but like there's a lot that's happening, right? Like we get so much like fleshed out about what Egghead looks like, what the citizens stuff looks like. Yeah. And then the Mark III pacifistas, they're like bubbles are in Shaka helmets almost. Like this is kind of crazy, right? Like giant tubes that are just lining the city apparently. Like
that's dope.
Also, this is different. Maybe I'm off base here, but this is different than the cop Kuma that.
Yeah. Okay, the cop Kuma had a very different suit on.
Yeah, the cop Kumas, where are those? Is it like is it like defunding the police in that sense? Like
hey. The cop Kuma is patrolling the safety of the city still.
Oh, are we not in the city? We have to rely on the military?
Hey, cop Kuma is watching over the stores, Par. You have innocent men and women over here that are running small businesses that don't want to get looted. He is performing a very important job. We don't need him out here on the front lines. We gotta protect his life.
You know, shout outs to Cop Kuma holding
Cop
it down.
Kuma. You're the only Kuma I like.
Military Kuma. You don't like military Kuma?
All right, I do admit I like military Kuma. They have the drip. So you know what? I would rank them military Kuma, Cop Kuma, OG Pacifistas, and then regular like OG Kuma at the very bottom, like the Kuma person.
Where's Seraphim Kuma?
Seraphim Kuma at the even lower.
Interesting. I thought you were gonna say like we have to wait to see whose side he's on.
I don't like kids, bro. I don't know.
Oh my. Okay, fair enough. We don't like kids. Don't like Heard kids. It here first. Fair enough.
Fair enough.
So something else that I shouted out about this thing is the you made me realize this when we first jumped into Egghead.
Yeah.
Was Vegapunk is Yonko level. If like, you know, obviously definitely. He's not 1v1 in Kaido or Big Mom, obviously, but we don't know what extent his power is, right? Because we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
He's a very mysterious character. But the crews, like,
dude,
if they have 50
crew.
of these,
bro. Okay, wait, no, hear me out. Not just 50 Mark III Pacifistas. He has the Kuma police bots. He has the Seraphim, and it's like, yo, you put those dudes against like. What, the smile users and Toby Ropo? Dude, these guys are wiping the floor.
Seraphim. Okay. This is a fun one. Oh yeah. My god, this is a fun. No, I mean, we might have a separate video that we like actually talk about this. Maybe we do this on my channel. But like, Seraphims versus Toby Ropo and Commanders.
Wiped. Oh well, Commanders is hard, right? Like, I think King and Queen could put up a fight, but I don't like. All the Seraphim, right? Not like a 1v1, like, oh, they're respectable, no, they're fighting each other. Yeah. Like a battle royale. If you put all the Topi Ropo and Commanders against all the Seraphims and all Mark III Pacifistas and OG Pacifistas, like, dude, like, it's hard not to say it's not a simple fight. Okay, like, these guys are kind of crazy.
How about this? The Seraphims, just the Seraphims versus the Sweet Commanders.
Oh,
that's a rough one.
Well, but like, I mean,
we saw the Hawk versus Blackbeard.
Blackbeard was kind of sweating, but Blackbeard always sweats though. The guy is like endlessly perspirating.
S-Hawk versus Zoro a little bit, you know, like, obviously Zoro held his own, but that Mihawk thing ain't no such, and you add other Seraphims.
And Devil Fruit, I don't even know what Devil Fruit the Mihawk Seraphim has yet, too.
Yeah, and
that's
Katakuri,
still a mystery.
You know, can he hold it down for Cracker and Smoothie and all? Do the Sweet Commanders take the Seraphims? That is crazy.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a better question than Beast Pirates, because Beast Pirates is harder, but... See, I think the only reason why I think the Seraphim might beat the Sweet Commanders is because of, like, how much we've progressed since then, right? Like, the Luffy that beat Katakuri, the Luffy that beat Katakuri was one shot by Kaido in the beginning of Wano. Literally, like, maybe 30 chapters after he beat Katakuri, Kaido one-tapped him. Like, that's where, like, power scaling is like, yo, like, Luffy went from being one-tapped to beating Kaido in the same arc. So it's like the power scaling just gets crazier and crazier as we go on. So I like to imagine that Katakuri did train, Cracker did train, and they're a lot stronger now, but we don't really know, man. I love Katakuri, but bro, like, I don't know. I think all the Seraphims might take it. And it's a 4v3.
We'll talk about this more. I actually, not that I'm not a huge power scaler, but this is a fun question.
It's a fun question.
Yeah. We'll talk about it at a different time, I think.
I think it's good. I love, like, One Piece power scaling, but it's always good to, like, take it with a grain of salt because it's One Piece. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
But, you know, the reason why I asked this or thought about this is because these 50 Kumas are a force to be reckoned with. Like, them alone, like we were saying, like, the bubbles alone could be doing something crazy if you add all of them together. But, like, at Marineford, they were a force to be reckoned with. But now it's the Mark III.
Dude, Marineford, Whitebeard allies couldn't even take one down. Do you remember that? They were trying, like, the Whitebeard allies were trying to fight off the Pacifistas, and they did nothing to them. So they're like, let's just go save Ace instead. So imagine dude, these guys would wipe the floor with the Whitebeard allies. Like, that's just how crazy the power scaling has gotten. to where like everything just got so much stronger so fast when you really think about it. Like it's only been like 2 years. Going on to the Labo phase now, we have Luffy breaking the Dom shoes, which I thought was really interesting because in the same chapter, we have everybody else with functioning Dom shoes. And Chopper says to don't tell them, or I guess Luffy says to not tell the Vegapunks that he broke the shoes too. So if there is a Vegapunk trader, which is kind of skipping ahead right here, if there is a Vegapunk trader and they activate the gravity on every shoe, they're going to be like, oh, like I've captured all the Straw Hats, but Luffy is free because his shoes are broken. I think that might be what this one-off panel could be setting up. But
I love that. I didn't think about that, but here's my thing where it's like this goes back to, remember, like prior to the Dom shoes reveal, I was saying that they were magnets. Yeah. And when I proposed that theory, the idea was that at the time the Straw Hats were all separated. Luffy was on the ground, Zoro was on the ship, and Sanji was with them. And Sanji would be able to break free of the magnet's hold and you know, do stuff. The only reason why he wouldn't would be if Vegapunk didn't prostrate himself as an evil entity, which during the course of it never got to that point where he needed to be freed, essentially. So like there was that panel where he's just like, I can't move or whatever. I don't take that as like he couldn't move, which might be copium, but like the reason why I say that is because on your point, I think that it'd be dumb because now, not your point, but Zoro is also in those shoes. Yep. So Zoro, Sanji are people that I think that should be able to break through.
Oh, yeah. It could be total cope, like you said, because Sanji said, oh, I can't move. But I, in my fanboy heart, believe that if Sanji, Jinbei, and Zoro wanted to break out of the gravity boots, I feel like they could.
Yeah. And like, Jinbei is a good point too. I wasn't even thinking about that, but like Jinbei should be able to shark grip those things and break them to pieces.
He has like grippers, bro.
Yeah, and like while all of that's true, maybe the other Straw Hats are held hostage to a certain extent. And they, you know, but then at the same time, magnetizing Robin doesn't do anything for her because when she fights, she's just standing still anyways. She's,
Usopp too, right? Like it's not gonna stop Usopp.
Yeah, and like Chopper could go monster point, and will his legs get broken because he just turns into like, I don't know, and like technically Chopper has like various forms where he gets smaller, right? So like he could maybe slip out. So like while that point is true that Luffy doesn't have the shoes, and that could play a point, I could see that being like a temporary thing, like, you know, like a facade, like, oh no, we're stuck, and then like the next, you know, in the next chapter or later in the chapter, it's like, how dare he is he underestimating us?
Nami has the climb attack, she doesn't have to move, Brook can just release his soul, like this, you know what, these shoes are garbo, you know what, I take it back. I hate even thinking about this. Luffy and the gang are gonna be stopped by shoes, bro. I used to work at a shoe store, and let me tell you, shoes don't matter.
Shoes don't. I like how we went from yo, these shoes are hold them down to fuck shoes, bro. Like toss out just everyone one to another. Shoes.
Well, you know, you convinced me, Par. God dang it.
But I think what you're saying is true. Where it's like they're like, you know, like Lilith when she rolled up on them was like, I could beat them down, and Shaka's like, no, right? And you know what? That might even play a point where it's like Shaka's not the traitor because Shaka wouldn't underestimate them to that degree, right?
Yeah.
But like maybe someone else is underestimating them, and then the Straw Hats are like, yo, we're a Yonko crew. Like, shoes? You think shoes can hold us down?
Imagine like one of the Vegapunks end up punching Straw Hat, like, oh, this is gonna knock him out for good.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, are you underestimating Luffy? Like, what is going on here? Yeah, like he won't withstand this bullet.
Yeah, like Atlas. Atlas punched Luffy in the first time he went flying, but like we don't think that he like actually got hurt. So Atlas runs it back, does it again, and then Luffy's just like like holds his hand up. He's like, "You think that would work a second time?" Like some crazy ass thing like that.
I mean, yeah, when Atlas hit him, Luffy was just eating food, and he looked at Atlas and he just kept on eating. He's like, "Oh, who cares?"
Yeah, like
no
even
threat.
better is like Usopp. Usopp pulls out the 10-ton hammer. And it's like, it's demolishing time, and then they're just like, "Oh my god, it's Usopp!" Like some crazy ass thing because all the other crewmates are crazy.
You know what's also funny to think about? All of the crew now has like a bounty over 300 million. So like, anybody who rolls up, like they're gonna like, even if you haven't met the Straw Hats yet, just from the name and bounty posters alone, you'd probably imagine these guys are monsters.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, Usopp is the only one who probably can't free himself.
Sadly enough.
Oh no, Usopp.
Sadly enough, Usopp.
No, he's just banging on the shoes with his stick.
Or, I mean, like you said, he doesn't need to move, but who knows? Maybe this is like a brave warrior of the sea moment where he breaks his ankles and just gets out of the shoes, though. I've always been a solid advocate. If you are in handcuffs and it is life or death, break your hand and get out of them.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I told my wife already knows that.
No,
like,
yeah.
I was just like, it's just, you gotta do like that, and then boom, it's easy, right? And she's like,
I tell my wife that too.
I was like, what do you're in handcuffs and you're trying to live and your hands are holding you back.
If somebody kidnaps you and you're in handcuffs and obviously they're not around, break your hands and get out of there. Like, it is that simple. Like, every time we watch a show and I see handcuffs, I look at my wife and I'm like, break your hands right here. In this scenario, police, break your hands. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter.
You can fix
Go to
your
the doctor
hands later.
Yeah.
I know plenty of hand doctors that could fix it. Like, you know, Doctor Strange got messed up hands. Look at him now. He prayed and it worked.
You could be in a cast for like a couple months, but guess what? It's better than being dead. All I gotta say.
You can do a lot more with your wrist than without.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
your life is beautiful. Live. Break those hands.
Yeah, and like, it's just Usai. You made me almost spit out my water when you said his legs. Arguably, that's harder though. Like, you can't, like, when Zoro was about to chop off his legs. At, little guy, that is crazy. I was like, Zoro. You know, that was a crazy one. Which, you know, shout outs to my long lost theory that Zoro is Shiki's kid, but we don't have to talk about that here.
So, going on though, speaking of Zoro, we actually get a dripped out Zoro and Brook in this chapter. They all have their little outfits now. Zoro's fit is probably my favorite so far. I don't know what the color scheme is, but if it's all black, that's looking pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the unitard has to be black. I think green would be really goofy, but the jacket being green, I feel like could work if it's an army green, like a dark green. But you know, Stussy's outfit is real. I think, like, basically Oda combined. He like heard the masses. He's like, I didn't really give Robin clothes. I just gave her a jacket, and I gave, you know, Nami a jumpsuit. So how about I combine them on Stussy? And then, you know, it went really well. But then I took a look at York, and I'm like, yo, there's a reason why my wife cosplayed York, because York is solid. York is a giant, bro. I didn't know that. Did you know that prior to this chapter?
I did not know how big York was.
York being a giant is just, woo.
It's kind of nice. Nice.
Yeah, like, I mean,
if you had to pick a girl from Egghead Island that was introduced in this arc, who would it be? Would you pick Lilith, Stussy, York, Atlas, or I guess that's it, right?
Stussy's hard because she's not introduced in this arc, but like,
well, hey, okay, we finally officially met her, right? She's finally highlighted.
Obvious tie between York and Stussy, bro.
Really?
York and Stussy. Right. You know, they're both great in their own ways.
Okay, yeah, it's respectable.
Yeah.
See,
I'm saying is, like,
I just got to go with Lilith, bro.
Gotta go with Lilith. Wait, why Lilith?
She's evil, man. What the hell?
Barely. She cares about people.
Exactly. That's the best part. That's what makes her a top tier waifu. She's evil, but not deep down, at least to our knowledge.
With the York thing, I think like what Sanji said. Obviously not about Shiroshi. Shiroshi, you know, age-wise, you know, but like Garb said it. Garb power scaled beauty standards in the Reverie arc. I don't know if you guys remember this. I think it's chapter like 904 904, 905, 906. He's just like, when he saw Shiroshi, he's just like, wow, that she's giving Boa, she's even more beautiful than Boa, which, you know, is questionable from Garp's standpoint because, you know, Shiroshi's age. He knows Shiroshi, and
how old is Shirahoshi?
I think she's 16, right?
So she's 16. The age of consent in Japan. It makes sense now.
In Japan, yeah, in Japan.
In Japan,
Garp,
she is.
Garp resembles, you know, the elderly in Japan with in all regards of how he treats, like.
We're just making Garp seem bad now. Whoa.
but he's
loyal to his wife, Par.
He said because Garp's wife. Garp has a wife.
I mean, surely there's some woman that gave birth to Dragon, right?
Nah, bro. Everyone's a clone. Come on.
Oh, there's everybody's a clone. You're right.
But he said
no moms
because
in the series.
Shirahoshi is bigger, she's better. That's his words. And you know, I can't blame him once I see York like that, bro. Fair. Facts. True.
York ain't bad. And you can even see in the background that Sanji is simping for her too, which is pretty funny. You see, and then you also see, if you look at that giant panel, you see Robin and Nami going in on Rob Lucci, which is, we hate to see it, but maybe Lucci's a foot guy, so maybe he's living in heaven right now.
They are Dom shoes.
They are, yeah.
You know,
it's the Dom mom shoes that are hitting Lucci.
Yeah,
you know what?
And it's crazy. No,
what's up? No, I was about to say. Oh, go for it.
That Robin's not Doming Lucci or Kaku. It's actually just Nami doing it for Robin. Robin's like, no, calm down. Nami's like, nah, we ain't about that life.
We gotta beat him up. Yeah. See, here's my argument for Lucci. Maybe he wanted to lose in the first place. Last chapter, we were kind of joking around saying, oh, Lucci, he wanted to get bitten by Stussy, right? Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense, actually. And then this chapter, maybe he just wants to get stepped on by Nami. Maybe the future side is going that hard, and he saw all of his fetishes coming true, and he's like, you know what? Maybe it's fine if I get captured.
How? So you know what'd be crazy? You know what? This is not that crazy, but like people faking sleep, Kaku being taken out by one hit, Lucci being taken out by one hit. What if they were just faking? Like maybe it worked for a bit, but then be carried all the way inside, and then here, this is where they wanted to be when you think about it.
This is their room. It's their playhouse.
Not only that, but oh my god, wait, I just thought about this. They're getting the intel on Vegapunk. Shaka is sitting there saying everything about where Vegapunk is. It makes no sense for them to act at all because their prerogative is to capture or kill Vegapunk, and so they need to find him. So how better than to insert themselves here?
And then he's a triple agent, yeah.
I don't even know what that would be called at this point, but yeah, it'd be like a triple agent first removed kind of thing where she's like backing up the CP0, or it could be that Lucci, like you're saying, might have, like, he didn't even awaken, you know, like what I mean, like when he fought Luffy, he awakened instantly, and obviously that buffs you. If he really wanted to protect himself from Stussy, why not awaken, right? Why not try all out to stop Stussy? Maybe he's like, you know what? Real quick, if Stussy's not killing us, she just confirmed that, maybe she's going to take us there, and then that'll be helpful, right? We don't know how long they're going to be knocked out, but, you know, this would be comical in a sense where it's like Lucci wakes up and, like, Nami's, like, afraid because she was just stomping on him, and then Lucci's just like, I don't have time for your bullshit, and then he just runs after Vegapunk. There's a few ways that this goes down. That'd be kind of crazy if they were faking it, though. Which I wouldn't put past that. You know, going back to One Piece's Pythagoras, which, you know, the nature of his usefulness is dubious, right? We haven't seen him do much. But he is searching for the real Vegapunk, and we talked about a bunch of different satellites, or a bunch of different... Okay, so I mean, obviously, or not obvious to me, I kind of skipped over this, was that he's searching for the Vegapunks, and then behind him, in the shadows, is a clinking and clanking.
Yes.
And we talked about some fun ideas, but what we find out is he gets assassinated, essentially, and exploded. And the question is, who's behind him? We talked about a bunch of ideas on the stream earlier, which I think around here is when the Gorosei actually cut the stream off, and so it'll be up on my second channel, Parvision VODs. But the point being is that the chat had a lot of different ideas for who this could be.
No one is on the same page, bro. No one.
Yeah, and me and Sai, I think we're more on the same page about it, in that that whoever this is has to be familiar with Egghead, with the Vegapunks, like with the facilities. Like for him to just like walk up to Pythagoras, assassinate him like this, sneak up on this is their house, right? Imagine you're in your own house and you got like sneak exploded, right? Like it's interesting. And we had this idea that there was like a traitor or something, like, so in this chapter is reiterated, we don't know who took down the security system, right? But like even still, people there was a lot of people who said the obvious person is Caribou. Like, what are your like? I mean, the reason why
I don't think that's
about that again,
bad idea, right? Like, I think Caribou is going to show up at some point, and he's going to do something weird. But to have this be Caribou doesn't make too much sense, at least in my opinion, right? Because, like you said, we have the Clink and Clank. Caribou is a slime, swamp guy. He doesn't make those sounds. There's a giant explosion. Caribou doesn't really fight with explosions. He actually just absorbs people in his goop. And you could say, oh, maybe he has a gun in there. Maybe he has a rocket launcher in his body, which is, I think that's very plausible. But when you reel it back, though, when it comes to like the bottom line, Caribou doesn't really know about Egghead. He doesn't know that there's 7 Vegapunks. He doesn't know to capture one of them and to kill all the others. Like, this seems like it's somebody with a mission. Yeah. Because if it was just to get as much money as possible, all Caribou needs to do is capture one Vegapunk and then, GTFO. But this is somebody going out of their way to capture the main one and then kill the others, which is what CP0 wanted to do. And if there was a Vegapunk trader that wanted to off the other ones, then that would give them a reason why too as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I am about Caribou.
Yeah, I wanted to address the Caribou thing because there was a lot of people in the chat that were just like, this is Caribou. But I just don't see it in this situation. Nothing alludes to that. And even why would, like you're saying, like, why would Caribou go on the aggressive immediately? He's never done that. Fishman Island never did that. And
not to mention, but he has to, like, turn on and off the Frontier Dome. Like, how would Caribou... Like, I don't want to be mean, right? But Caribou doesn't strike me as a guy with a high IQ. Like he's very base level. He's our realm, right? He's not up there with Vegapunk. So how is he doing all that? Like, he just left the ship with Zora and Brook, and Caribou knows not to F with the Straw Hats. Time and time again, the Straw Hats have memed on him so hard. Why would he actively pick a fight with the Straw Hats right here?
Yeah, like to the point where like when Luffy appeared in Udon, it was just like, yes, master?
Yeah, Caribou was like, oh, please, please save me. Caribou actually got in a barrel for them and locked himself up because he did not want to fight the Straw Hats. Like, and that's Caribou's character. He would not go on the aggressive, in my opinion. And on top of that, it's like the point being like, and I don't think the dome, which he should not know about the defense system, first of all, is he should be able to escape with no problem because he's a Logia. Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the only Logia that should be affected is Blackbeard. Every other Logia, they should be able to just phase through this. Like, it doesn't make sense that lasers can all of a sudden just hurt Logias, because then that changes the scope of One Piece so much. If we're just saying the lightsaber that's also a bug zapper can now hurt any Logia, that's a whole different One Piece. So any Logia should be able to just go through. And so I imagine Caribou just like goes through and gets slimed and zapped, but then he's fine on the other end. Yeah, he just regenerates if he really wanted to. I'd imagine he's inside and he's fine. But that leaves us to who else this could be. And throughout the fun one that we landed on, which it was fun. It was a fun one. But as the fun brewed, it started to cement itself within the chat, within the voice of all things. Now I'm glad because it might be making its way throughout the community. Which was that clinking and clanking. Well, we don't even see the Dom shoes making that sound from Pythagoras. He's not making a clink clank sound. These Dom shoes haven't been shown to do that. And it could be the Dom shoes, which could mean it's a satellite, but something that clinks and clanks
some people said Saint Saturn's already here. Kizaru and Saint Saturn already here. I don't really see that. We just saw them on the ship last chapter. I don't see Oda instant teleporting them all the way
You'd also imagine that Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, who have observation haki, would notice when an admiral's nearby, right?
Yeah,
because what's it called? In Wano, when Green Bull was nearby, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, they were posted up. Even Jinbei was. They were posted up, waiting for him to roll on. And then when he left, they're like, oh, I guess the threat's gone now, right? So you'd imagine if Kizaru pulled up, they'd be like, oh, wait, we need to actually go out there and do something.
Yeah, they'd be like, Shaka, hold on to your list because there's an admiral here.
I sense a trouble in the force.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so like it can't be someone that strong. It has to be someone who can mask themselves or is known for the their thing. Which, one thing to address is that a lot of people, in terms of who's the traitor. Well, like, one thing that I thought was crazy was that when we see Bonnie, Vegapunk was like, no, Bonnie, don't go into the thing. And then we see Bonnie pulling out of the bubble, and there's no Vegapunk in sight. You would think that he'd be there for Bonnie, like, oh, Bonnie, please don't look at
he's
Kuma's
gone,
thing.
bro.
Bonnie, it's okay. Kuma, this is the real story. He left. We don't know, but like, is that Vegapunk? Is this main Stella body the person? And I kind of like that idea, but
Vegapunk being the one killing the other bodies.
It's a weird
cool.
one. It's a weird one.
It's an interesting idea. We need a reason, but I like it. I like it.
I also like it because it's directly in the progression of the chapter, right? We talked about how Edison and Lilith could be working in tandem. There's that. But the one that is the romantic idea, the one that, the community should flock towards, is that this, clinking and clanking, that's the sound of a horse on metal.
Oh my gosh.
What horse?
The stronger theory comes back bigger than ever. But even if it isn't stronger, just to run it back a little bit, because I bet people are like, stronger? What the hell are you talking about? It could be Shiryu. This stronger doesn't have to come alone. I think Shiryu is still a very valid option. Shiryu and Lafitte, for Egghead, very possible. But the stronger one is something that a lot of people brought up, the clinking and clanking, like you said, which is kind of funny.
Wait, did people bring up that? Because I thought that was kind of I was pretty crazy when I said that.
After you said that, I think people started to jump on and meme around and like, oh, dude, stronger, like his horse poop is apples or something. He could blow up.
Yeah. That horse poop means apple in German or whatever.
Yeah,
and then the thing, Doc Q's apples are explosives, so this explosives could be the apples. But and then even without stronger, I think you're still on the boat that Shiryu and Lafitte could be here. They could have been the people who were defensive, took Vegapunk out, because we don't know where Vegapunk is. And the thing is, if it's Lafitte has tap shoes, so the clink clank could be his tap shoes. And then the stronger thing, it's memes, but like, is Lafitte carrying Shiryu up here, or is Shiryu flying, or is stronger bringing up Shiryu?
The only problem I have with that too is that I think alongside this, the Blackbeard and Law stuff is going on, and Stronger was over there. I think it was in tandem, right?
Oh, is it? Because if it is, that's the thing with the Blackbeard flashbacks, is we don't know
the timeline
exactly. Like,
but
or we have to infer until.
I like to imagine Stronger is in a stable right now, and they're trying to piece them together. They're like, okay, how do we push his body back?
Yeah. It's oh my god, wait. It's another Kinnymon situation. Stronger ends up like later on in the story. Like, we have like a Kaido-esque character like killing Stronger, and Stronger's like, and then he comes back. He's just like, I was never put back correctly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. But like, but the problem. Okay, so then the issue we come back to again, is that the Blackbeard Pirates should not be knowledgeable about Egghead.
Yeah, Blackbeard Pirates not only should not be knowledgeable of Egghead, but why would they want to kill Pythagoras is another one. Kidnapping Vegapunk makes sense. I feel like any pirate worth their salt would want to kidnap Vegapunk. Hell, Orochi wanted Vegapunk on Wano, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was like, hey, don't give me these battleships anymore. I want Vegapunk. People want this man. He is the smartest man in the world. It's like saying you don't want like Robin on your crew, right? Like, it makes no sense to not want him.
Yeah, and we know from this chapter that he is world-renowned loved. Like, he is loved throughout the entire world for lighting it up with his inventions.
Literally, Big News Morgan thought it would be huge to say that Straw Hat kidnapped him too, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like he is important. And everybody wants him. But if it was Blackbeard, why kill Pythagoras? That's kind of like where I'm at right now. Like, I wanted to be Shiryu, of course, but I see the flaws in it. Like you said, Egghead wouldn't be knowledgeable. Pythagoras, why kill him? Why not just leave, right?
Yeah.
That is a question.
Which is like, you know, when you think about this chapter, it's not 1073. It's not Gorosei showing up. It's not Kizaru showing up. It's not Awaken Lucci. But this chapter is showing like a different side of Oda, which we talked about might even be because he's best friends with Aoyama, who created Detective Conan, a detective mystery series.
They had a little collaborative cover page a couple like months back too. So this could be the influence.
Like the you know, remember how absurd it was when the Den Mushi was silhouetted? And it's like that itself, I remember sitting back, like, Oda doesn't even do that to us. Like, Oda would like show us like the part of it or whatever, but silhouetting a Den Mushi almost felt out of character for Oda too. But you know who it is character for? Aoyama. That is exactly the type of thing he would do. And the way this person is showing up, I'm getting flashbacks from Detective Conan right now.
I love this.
The person is just there and they're doing something in the forefront, and then their murderer is in the back walking up on them, and they're just like, huh? And then they're dead. Like, that's literally what happens in Detective Conan. So like, I could definitely see this. Like, Oda called him last year, like, hey, I want to do a detective murder mystery.
How would you recommend this, friend?
Yeah, like, and you know, it's one of those things that, like, you know, maybe Oda didn't plan out every single part of Egghead, but there's like fun things that he did in between, and you can see how he set it up. Because think about it, the community has been wondering about a traitor for a while. Even like the Stussy thing, right? When I brought up that Stussy felt sussy in that first thing, I didn't use those terms, but I said that she was like a triple agent, quadruple agent, and people didn't think about it at that time. What did we get? We got that she was, in fact, a counter agent to the CP0. And it's like Oda's putting in details like that here that make the community think, like, yes, there is a traitor. I know there's a lot of people who don't even like the traitor idea, but I've been, like, open to it. And now, like, how can you not think that there might be a traitor at this point?
My favorite thing about this is, I brought this up during your live stream too, but the chapter name of the 6 Faces of Vegapunk, like, I feel like that's such a direct call to the, like, famous, you know, Japanese author who writes mystery novels, and his novel, The Fiend with 20 Faces. And then that's a real-life crime in Japan, which is referenced from The Monster with 21 Faces, too, which is, like, an unsolved murder case. So it's like, yo, like, Oda is drawing some inspirations here, and honestly, I think this might be one of my favorite aspects of Egghead. Like, I love all the hype, I love all the fights, but, dude, a murder mystery in One Piece? That observation hockey can't solve? Like, this is dope.
That lore about the 20 faces thing, I think that's also referencing that demon or like the spider thing. In like, a lot of people might remember from Avatar, where like the person had the faces of everybody and he could copy the faces. Well, that ties directly to the Mane Mane no Mi, the clone fruit. That's how it works. And clone fruit. Is it suspect that right now we're getting Clone Piece? The clone fruit might be relevant to that, and it also ties back to that murder mystery that Sai's talking about. Like, there's so many connections here that are just, I feel like, are going under the radar, but like Oda is cooking. It feels like, even with this like transitional chapter, and like this still like. Again, I missed this while reading it because what happens on the next page and what happened just prior to this. So like, if we want to go back to the Kuma stuff. That stuff is all interesting. We talked a bit on my stream.
On to the Kuma segment now. We were all waiting for it. We have Kuma rightfully being beaten by random civilians.
Stop it, Sai. Stop it, Sai. No. We're not having it.
All right.
You can't open up the way this opened up, bro. You can't.
No, the thumbnail's going to be Kuma.
No!
The thumbnail for the video is going to be a kid Kuma crying.
No.
See,
bro, you saw it, right? I basically started crying. Like, I broke out.
Did you really? Already?
Yeah. Yeah,
dude, nothing happened yet.
You didn't hear my explanation. I was basically saying like this was the way I saw this. The moment it hit me, and I told the story a little bit, was like, because like my wife's parents and like my parents, when they were growing up, they were in a war, and so her dad was in a war growing up, and like, you know, as much shit as we give our parents, the immigrant parents, like some of them were through shit like this, and like I just pictured like my parents in that, and that's what Bonnie's experiencing right now. Bonnie already loved her parents, which is like, if Oda wanted to make it the Asian.
I feel sad for Bonnie, right? I feel for Bonnie. When she was tearing up, I was like, oh, okay, my heart's finally melting a little bit. You know, it's starting to get moving. Good,
but no but side.
We have no context on this situation. We have silhouettes of people being very ambiguous. Do this, we'll get killed. Ooh, celestial dragons in the background, beat with the bamboo stick. It's like, okay, it's sad, but like, dude, I'm not feeling anything yet, right? Give me 1 or 2 more flashbacks, and when we learn more about the situation, we learn about what's happening here. And then I'll feel bad.
7-year-old, 8-year-old kid getting
but the hairline, like, how can I feel bad with somebody with that hairline, though?
It comes out. Sai. Oh
yeah, no, I don't know, man. Like,
his hair fell out from the stress, Sai.
This is the beginning of the flashback. As we go on, all I'm saying, as we go on, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna feel more. But as of right now, I only feel bad for Bonnie. Like, you know, Kuma, like, oh, dude, just suck it up, bro.
I had an idea.
I'm kidding,
what if
but still,
Kuma's branding is on his head? That's why he grew out his hair.
That'd be kind of funny.
Sigh! No!
What? It's a cool idea, man. That'd be kind of funny. I don't know.
No,
branding on his head. Why?
Oh my! Because the celestial dragon branding.
Dude, why? Like, but if he grows hair, I mean, I guess like if you kept him like perpetually bald, I mean, I guess you could see the branding.
Well, I mean, when you grow it out, you could comb it over.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if I had to put the mark of a celestial dragon on somebody, I want them to be easily identifiable. Like, put on his armor, you know, arm, back, chest.
I think this alone was crazy because what this said was that
Sai doesn't have a heart.
Kuma, he was so distraught that he ran away from the situation only to grow up and accept this situation for whatever circumstance. We don't know what the circumstances were, but apparently those circumstances were so great that it made it so that Kuma suppressed his childhood trauma of being a celestial dragon, which Boa to this day has not been able to cope with, right? He was able to do that and said, I will sell my body and my soul for that potential future in order to get this potential future. Now I want to know what that is even more so, because there's a grandmaster plan behind this, and you know, the story keeps on coming back. Kuma, Bonnie is like, he would never do that. Jinbei's like, you'd have to wonder what would take for a person to do that. And now we know it's not that Kuma wasn't aware of the atrocities. No, he knows more than anybody in the world. He was there first and foremost, and that's crazy to me that's the loop around for Kuma's story. And like, again, like, this alone it's crazy because I think the way Bonnie reacted, like, she jumped out of it, she couldn't handle it. I think that was powerful too, because what she say exactly, she's like, I didn't have enough willpower, my resolve wasn't strong enough. And like, that's crazy to me that like she didn't even see, she saw a glimpse of it and she was broken, right? Like, yeah, it's crazy. Now I'm also wondering, like, the way the bubble worked for Zoro, right? Like, Kuma slapped a part of the bubble and Zoro took all of a part of the pain. That's kind of what it looks like here, but like, she puts her hand into it, and I'm wondering if that bubble stays after Bonnie experiences it. You know what I mean? Like, does that bubble like stay?
A perpetual memory that's just chilling in that room. And another thing too is that Kuma was the evil tyrant ruler of Sorbet Kingdom, but if this is Sorbet Kingdom, wouldn't he be like royalty right here? Unless he married into the family, then that's very different. But yeah, it's like, if this was Sorbet Kingdom, like, these people are just beating up a king. Which, I don't know, like, there's so many things with this that it's hard to speculate, because like you said, we have silhouettes of people, we have silhouettes of, you know, celestial dragons, we have a silhouette of the castle and architecture. It's like we have no picture about what is going on here. All we know is that Kuma's running in a field, he's crying, and then people want him to, it seems like, offer himself up as tribute again? Because it sounds like he was already there, then he left, and then they want him to go back. Like, I don't even know what the circumstance is, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is so open-ended.
And think about how this is a very weird thing for, it's almost, you know, when the Grim Reaper showed up, and it's like, you know, like a lot of people.
Hey, he never showed up. That was retconned out.
But the point being, it felt so not One Piece that like I double checked I was reading the right scans when I saw that, right?
Yeah.
In the same context, like how many times have we had a flashback or whatever this you want to call this, and Oda gives us this, but he like look at the setting that Bonnie's in. I've never seen this in One Piece-esque at all, where it's like there's just lines, like there's it's like the, you know, like a white space, and you just see his Kuma. And that's so interesting to me that Oda wanted to hide so much. He couldn't give the setting. He couldn't even show the people beating on Kuma. And then he barely he wanted us to see the buildings. So it almost does lean me towards the direction that Oda does want us to like, hey, this is a special place, a place that I can't give you too much about, but remember it. Almost like Leloucia. Leloucia, at the beginning of Reverie, you never would have thought that it would be important. Lo and behold, it was important. Or was it? Because I don't know. It was erased, right? Like that's what I'm kind of getting at here, where it's like maybe this place was the last place that was erased. You know, we don't know how important this location might be. Might be important for people to remember for sure.
And after the Kuma part, we actually got to the real Kuma, who is continuing his journey on top of the red line. He's climbing it right now, too. And I feel like it's going to be hand in hand, right? Like, by the time we finish the flashback, Kuma's going to succeed in whatever mission he's on right now, which is probably just to get to Marie Joie, right? I feel like...
Yeah, and he's probably going to die.
Yeah, he's probably going to... No, yeah. I do not see Kuma surviving this, honestly. Like, this is Oda preparing us for the waterworks. And,
yeah,
you know the Celestial Dragon we see, like, silhouetted? It could be that Kuma's going to him. And maybe to kill him off, maybe to, you know, wash his feet. We don't really know yet.
That'd be crazy if the last thing he did was to kill his master.
Kill the former master.
Like, I mean, the other way, like, there's, you know, obviously the parallels to Legendary Iron Giant. This is exactly what he did. But technically, this is also what Fisher Tiger did. And what did Fisher Tiger do? He freed all the slaves. So maybe Kuma's going to do that. Like, we don't necessarily know what it is, because... there seems to be a lot of differences between the Pacifista and the Legendary Iron Giant. I think it's weirder to say that the Pacifistas are a one-to-one to the Legendary Iron Giant, because the Legendary Iron Giant is from the Ancient Kingdom. So whatever prerogative they gave, I feel like would be different than what Kuma has. Like, it doesn't make sense that Vegapunk and Kuma somehow also came back to the same like,
mission
foundation
as the ancient robot.
Yeah, that'd be a little weird.
I just thought of something real quick. So what if Kuma is actually royalty in this flashback? Like, as a kid, he is like a king or prince still, right?
Uh-huh.
And what if the background is Sorbet Kingdom? And what we're witnessing right here is the Celestial Dragons coming back home to their original kingdom, seeing that Kuma and his family have taken up the throne, and they're like, oh, let's beat him up a little bit. I don't know. It just reminds me of, like, the Doflamingo situation, where Doflamingo's family, the Don Quixotes, were Celestials from Dressrosa, and then they ascended to become Celestial Dragons, and then that's when the King Riku family took over. And then Doflamingo came back and usurped the throne again. There's so much ambiguity in this little flashback here. Like, we have so much to work off of, but nothing to, right?
Yeah, like...
Very loose dialogue.
That these buildings could be Sorbet Kingdom. We've never seen Sorbet Kingdom, so you know that's a very fair point. It being Sorbet Kingdom could make a lot of sense. It could also be like, you know, royalty on these islands don't matter. Look what they were about to do to Momo, right? An admiral is about to take his ass. So like, why would that stop them if they saw a big ass kid who could be a very strong slave? King, peasant, doesn't matter. They would take him, right?
And not to mention, we know that Kuma gets the title of Tyrant. So what if that's what the Celestial Dragons used to discredit Kuma, like, from being, like, the actual king of their kingdom, or previous kingdom?
Yeah. Or another way around it would be that Sorbet Kingdom is tied to the world government, which we do know it was, and their kingdom sold out Kuma, kind of like Kaido.
Yeah, I could see that too.
And
there's
so
like
then
so
when
much
Kuma
with this.
returns, he decides to take down the kingdom because there's a bunch of other kids being sold just like him.
And then he's a tyrant because they should all actually just be enslaved to the celestial dragons, which, you know, we don't want to argue whether that's right or wrong, but, you know, celestial dragons are the gods of the One Piece universe, right?
You know, and I, you know, a sane person would say that that's propaganda. And so, you know, like Sai, you know, though he likes to spit propaganda, there's no better person than Big News Morgans in that front, right? So, you know, we should take a look at what Big News Morgans is spitting, because I'm sure the propaganda is better than the one Sai is spitting.
Hey, all I gotta say is I still support the world government. I don't support everything they do, but I am on the side of Marines still.
The world government was beating on kids in this chapter. That's all they did. And
world government, actually, okay, you know what? Bring it back. We only see civilians beating up Kuma. We see celestial dragons, but we don't know the context, right? He doesn't have a stick in his hand. He's not beating Kuma up.
The civilians, or whatever those people said.
What if the celestial dragons were really nice?
Kill us. They said they will kill us.
Yeah, but not kill Kuma, though.
But Kuma ran away from them.
Hey, what if
I don't want to go back there. They're so mean to me. He ran. So,
I'm holding out for the celestial dragon stocks.
No. Oh god.
Oh, man.
One thing you guys need to know about Sai is don't take stock advice from Sai.
Hey, I always got to support the Marines, bro. On to the last parts of the chapter. We see that Big News Morgans is finally coming back onto scene. And we see him alongside Vivi and Wapol. And you know what? I'm going to say right here, not a lot of people expected this matchup, right? Like, what a weird trio of characters. It feels like we just picked names out of a hat and said, hey, let's throw them on a ship together. And that's what we have at the end of the chapter.
I think what's interesting, because, like, I remember when the Vivi thing, maybe it's on a stream when we talked about, not like our stream, like one of my reaction streams, because, you know, a lot of people were Kuma bounced Vivi away, or Sai took him, or so many of the Tantaras or whatever, and, like, you know, I think Wapol was thrown out, but, like, even it never made sense, right? But now, like, I remember, this is the one thing I did say about Wapol, because we did get that at the end of chapter 956, I think it was, when, like, the Warlords announcement thing happened, and that's when Big News Morgans boxed the CP agent, and like, he was like, I'm not gonna listen to them. At the end of that scene, Wapol calls him and says, I have a big scoop, whatever, I have something big. I remember saying, like, oh, he witnessed what happened to Vivi. I didn't think that the big scoop was, I have Vivi.
Yeah.
Like, I guess
seen Vivi. I know what happened at the Reverie.
Yeah, like, I have Vivi in my mouth, essentially, right? Because that's what I'm assuming happened. Like, he ate Vivi. And,
but if he
like,
did eat Vivi, then there is some strange weird body implications that implies, since when Wapol eats people, he transforms a little bit.
Yeah, so, like, we don't know, maybe
blue-haired Wapol.
Yeah, and so, like, one way or the other, the big scoop being this is very weird, but I'm curious to know, because Wapol slapped Vivi.
hey, that was like 20 years ago. You know, people change. Yeah, but the grudge remember, he did it for fun. He did it for fun. He didn't like her. He was like, you know what? Love tap, and, you know, he went on with his day. And guess what? Vivi took it like a champ. It's no big deal.
Fair, but what my point is the grudge is still there, right? The disrespect that Wapol felt. But something happened at the Reverie that made it so that he wanted to save her, I'm guessing? Or did Vivi command? What power does Vivi have to command Wapol, right?
Maybe.
Like, so it makes sense that this is Wapol's directive.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Wapol doing this for, like, a political gain. I could see him doing it as a favor for the Straw Hats. Like, there's a couple...
Could he for the Straw Hats? I don't see it for the Straw Hats.
I mean, he doesn't really have a grudge anymore, does he?
Yeah, he got Team Rocketed off of his island, and he had to make his own island.
But being Team Rocketed helped him create like a whole new kingdom, though.
Yeah, but Wobble doesn't care about that. He's not making the Wapol conglomerate. He had money. He's not.
But he has even more money though.
And sitting there,
he has more power than ever.
He's not one of those billionaires who think back like, oh man,
yeah, fond memories.
That one guy who beat me up as a kid, bro. He's the reason why I'm here. I'm so grateful. He's not. Wapol ain't like that.
You're right. But I mean, like him saving Vivi though is still interesting.
Yeah.
Like there's some reason behind it, right? Like maybe he saw something. Maybe he saw the murder of King Cobra and he's like, you know what? Maybe I don't like the world government that much. Which is very unfortunate because we like Wapol.
I like Wapol. I want to have a whole video on Wapol. I haven't gotten around to it because Oda keeps making me not prioritize him. But hey, now I might because he's in the chapters. I've been saying. I actually brought up Wapol this weekend at the Reverie Rumble with Rogers Base. I brought up Wapol and how cool he is. But the point is that I think that you remember at the beginning of the Reverie, or not the beginning, midway through, Wapol was afraid to be associated with everybody when Vivi was arguing with Lucci, and Wapol was like, I'm not with them. It could be that whatever situation happened, which is odd because from all the timeline of it's so weird to me because King Neptune and Shirahoshi with Garp left the Reverie without any knowledge of anything happening. They went to Fish Mountain and they were like, Garp was like, I gotta tell you about what happened to Vivi and Arabasta. And I'm like, huh? How did they leave the Reverie? Did they leave early? And like Vivi stay? Like why did Vivi stay? And is it because of Cobra? But Cobra's meeting was before the Reverie meeting. Like it's so odd in that light. But whatever happened, it seems like Wapol probably got associated with Vivi. And that's probably what's happening, where he could not stay and not be attacked by the God Knights or something like that.
I bet the Godosei are like, yo, like Wapol collaborated with Vivi. He's a close ally. And
so that forced him to eat her, and then he just used his he's like, no, I'm Wapol of the evil Black Drum Kingdom. Which is the funniest cop. Imagine telling the guards you're evil. You didn't. No, I'm just from the evil Black Kingdom.
I'm not actually evil.
That's just the name of the kingdom. But yeah, it's so interesting. And on the Vivi note, right, just the way she showed up, she's commanding Morgans, doesn't give a shit about I
feel bad for Morgans, bro. She was crying the other day and now she's trying to give him headlines and articles and stuff. I feel for Morgans, bro.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, her dad is probably dead.
Hey, good riddance.
That's a quick question. Do you think that based off of this appearance of Vivi, Cobra's actually dead?
I think so. I mean,
do you think we can tell?
If Vivi and Wapol if they actually did witness Cobra's murder, then it would make sense as to why she was crying up until yesterday. So I feel like this gives the theory that Cobra is actually dead a lot more ground. But
there's some interesting.
I mean, even if Cobra survived, I don't think he would matter too much. If he lives or dies, I don't think that's a huge blow. It's not like we're losing a Straw Hat, right? He's a big character, but we have Vivi who's just gonna take over. We still have Pell, which, I mean, thank God for that. So we have the heavy hitters of Alabasta still around.
It's not headcanon, but we saw Eam with Vivi's poster walking up to the empty throne, and it's if it turns out that Vivi is important, Shirahoshi kind of important, ancient weapon tied to it, related to it. The Nefertari family, like you said, they were traitors to the world government, and they were allies of the ancient kingdom, but they were also part of the world government. There's something there, which, my recent video, I highlight why that might be important. But at the end of the day, if Vivi ends up being important, if Eam had her poster walking up to empty throne, and Vivi left the Reverie scot-free. Yes, she lost her dad, but herself. I don't know what to think about the Eam and the Gorosei. How are they letting this person was with them? You know what I mean? Like, that is so odd to me. Like, I almost didn't think that this was possible because I thought that because Eam had Vivi's poster, there was no way that Vivi would be able to, like, leave here without, like, is this a clone? Like, is this just a clone of Vivi?
No.
Like, imagine this is Eam and Vivi's actually in the.
But here's the thing with the poster too. The poster segment was when the Gorosei asked, like, what light do you want us to extinguish? And we never know who we chose, right?
Yeah.
We never know if it was like Vivi. It could be like Luffy. It could be Blackbeard. We don't really know what his choice was. That's the main thing too. Like, what if Vivi wasn't the light he wanted to get rid of, though?
Yeah.
And
but
things just went, one thing led to another, and then they had to kill King Cobra, and then they tried to get rid of Vivi, but since she wasn't on their priority list, she kind of like slipped through the cracks. There's also that possibility too. And plus, like, Sabo was also there. The revolutionaries were there too. So there was a lot happening at that one reverie.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Those wanted posters. Yeah. If they had Shirahoshi there, like, that's an odd thing too. They didn't, like, actually take her. She was completely fine. Yeah, maybe they recognized her as the ancient weapon. But though that poster scene with Eam is so... I'm not saying bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's weird with this context now. Because, yeah, we had Shirahoshi, the Poseidon. Do they not know that she's Poseidon at this point?
I think they do.
Like, does Eam... Yeah, like, Eam should know. So why aren't they capturing Shirahoshi?
It sounded like they were just deciding what mission takes priority first, right? Because when they say light, they didn't say lights. They said light. So right, but maybe he was only after one singular person from the entire, like, get, like, maybe the mission was just, it's either Vivi or Shirahoshi or Luffy or Blackbeard. It doesn't have to be, like, all of them.
Right. And at that point, they didn't know Luffy was Sun God, but Luffy's picture was still there. Yeah. What I'm saying is that context, like, what meaning do those posters have if it's not to capture, kill, or monitor, right? Like, even into Onigashima, they didn't even care about Luffy to a certain extent. They were like, Kaido this, but then once he was Nika, they cared, right? So it like, what I'm saying is that Eam's, like, disconnect to the Gorosei. Like, does Eam have something the Gorosei don't know? Like, that's where I'm getting at, where it's like, those posters... It's not that they lost meaning, but they're almost, like, more confusing at this point because Shirahoshi was at the reverie. Vivi was at the reverie. That's 2 posters there. You would think that if Blackbeard and Luffy were there too, they would do something about it, right? But Vivi's gone. Like, Shirahoshi as well. Like, they had an ancient weapon there and they didn't do anything about it.
So it makes me wonder, like, we don't know the context behind the posters just yet. Like, what threat do they pose? Vivi is an interesting one because I see people use that as context to say that Vivi is, like, an ancient weapon or related to one. Mm-hmm. My kind of, like, way of looking at it is maybe it's because that is a celestial family. It's one of the original 20 kingdoms, Like, maybe that poster was a way to say, hey, maybe we need to bring Vivi and the Nefertaris back up to Marijois. Or try to convince them to come back.
But then the counter to that is that when they talked about the Nefertari, they're like, they're traitors. Like, the grudge from 800 years ago still stands. So, and if that's the reason, that's the only reason why they killed Cobra, which doesn't seem like it is, because Cobra also went to the Gorosei to ask about the Void Century, ask about his ancestors, which that is on site. He's gonna die from that. But, like, the way they said, like, so they're traitors, it would make it seem like they would want to kill Vivi also, right? Like, or capture her or do something. So that whole context is so different. And now, especially now that the Saint Saturn is on the move, it's like, it's almost like the murder mystery. It's like, what do they want to do? What is the equilibrium that they're striking? Yeah. I think that's the thing. Because especially in Egghead, we get the notion that the ancient kingdom wasn't all good. They had their own problems. And I've been saying that the world government is probably started out in a good place, and because they lost history, they spun out in a bad way. We see that in our world too. When our governments forget about certain atrocities or certain things, they have a funny way of happening again, which is why history is so important. 800 years later, after not having the history, that's why the world government probably seems really bad right now. And in that light, it's like, what is the Gore? Like, why did they grimace or why were they upset about Ohara being wiped? why did they say like it's unfortunate that Sabo is there, right? Like, wouldn't they want Sabo wiped after he attacked the Gorosei, right? Like, remember that line? There's like, oh, it's unfortunate that he's there. It almost sounded like they were fine if he lived. Like, there's so many different things about the Gorosei that almost make it seem like they're not the villains and they're just actually trying to find an equilibrium.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I think One Piece does a good way of like painting people in a gray area. Yeah. So like by the time we get to like the Void Century, I wouldn't be surprised if the world government, Gorosei, they're bad guys, but maybe they had really good intentions starting out, like you said. Like, it just got twisted over time, and maybe they are trying to preserve the world, and that's why they're not just Lelouching every country that disagrees with them. Instead, they bring up the Reverie, they have them voice their opinions, and, you know, they try to make a better world, but it's not always the case. It's exciting. I mean, I feel like we're getting to the point where we're going to start getting a lot of answers pretty soon. I mean, I guess we could say that with every week, but it's definitely starting to become more and more clear as we go on. Especially now that Vivi's alive, and we might be getting that big Vivi scoop pretty soon. You know, we might know what actually happened at the Reverie. And if that's the case, then I feel bad for Morgans, who is going to be put in the line of fire.
Yeah, I mean, give me a scoop of Vivi, Stussy, York. I'm fine with all those scoops. My favorite Sunday ice cream. But, you know, that is another interesting point that I think, you know, I always thought that Bonnie would be able to tell us about the Reverie because she was there and like she would tell the Straw Hats, because it's almost weird to me that we would learn about the Reverie without the Straw Hats knowing about it. But at the same time, Vivi's here. She should know everything. All of the, like, Shirahoshi wouldn't know because she doesn't know what happened to Vivi. So Vivi, now that Vivi's here, we're probably gonna find out. But that story is gonna be lost or retold to the Straw Hats, I guess, like when she eventually meets them.
But here's the thing too, is that this is happening right now. So maybe by the time we leave Egghead, because Morgan's already sent out the paper for the day, right? Yeah. So tomorrow, once Egghead is over, you know, in the One Piece timeline, maybe that's when the new newspaper rolls out, and then the Straw Hats will read it while on their way to the next island or whatever they're doing. But that could also be the case.
That's actually another thing, though, where it's like a lot of people thought that once Morgan's posted Gear 5,
yeah,
he's completely rebelled. Like, he'll never listen. But we saw in this chapter, he's still skating a line, because I think the headline he would want is the world government is crazy and blah blah blah, and Straw Hat Luffy is saving Vegapunk, the world's beloved, and that would cause even more, because that would make even more of a headline than what he's posting. He posted Navy skirmish at Egghead, Emperor Straw Hat Luffy takes Vegapunk hostage. That's almost what the world expects out of Luffy because he's a pirate. But if he rebelled against the world government, if he doesn't care, then the headline he would post is the Navy's trying to kill Vegapunk. Luffy saves him? Question mark, question. But I mean, it would be a YouTube video,
here's
right?
Here's another thing, though.
Yeah, what's
so Morgans actually gets a phone call, and then he comes up with the headline, and he says all this information. So it really makes you wonder who phoned this in. Maybe the person who called in this report twisted the narrative too, because we get a very distinctive click. So if this is being reported by the Navy or CP0, then they could be like, oh my god, like, can you believe this maniac? Straw Hat Luffy's kidnapping Vegapunk, blah blah blah. And this is why I don't think it's just because I was like, okay, who called Vegapunk, right? Or not Vegapunk, who called Morgans? Because somebody did.
Wait, but here's the other thing, though.
Yeah.
They didn't spin the story. They told
not yet.
Morgans exactly what is happening. They said the world government intends to assassinate the beloved Dr. Vegapunk. The only people who really know that is CP0.
Yeah, CP0, and maybe Caribou if he's, keeping a close eye on things. So it's like, but here's the thing. If it's CP0 is the one who phoned this in, the only person who would be able to do this is probably Stussy. Because, Rob Lucci and Kaku are down. But why would Stussy spin the story like the Straw Hats are evil and not say, oh, the government wants to kill Vegapunk?
No, but he's not doing that. I don't think whatever phone call he got was not spinning that. He's spinning it. He said, so let's make the headline this, because he wants to make the government appreciate it. He said, I'm sure the government will appreciate that spin. Go collect their contribution. So he's getting paid by the world government.
You're right.
So he's under... So he has the real news.
Okay.
And he's spinning it for the world government to
that's...
take money from them.
Which is crazy to think about, because like you said, he just boxed a CP agent like not too long ago.
Yeah.
Like you'd imagine that the government would be like, okay, Morgan's, it's on site.
Yeah,
Dang,
and
I didn't
so
think
now...
about that.
If it's Vega, I don't think it's Vegapunk himself who called him. They don't have the time for this. But Stussy,
yeah, they don't have the time.
Stussy is the Denden Mushi goat right now. She's been calling, and we've never noticed at the moment.
Yeah, she called Vegapunk called her, and we didn't even see that.
Yeah, and so her being the one who phoned this in, it would make sense why he would trust her too, because they were at the Tea Party together.
Yeah,
they're both emperors. They're of the underworld. So she is a reputable source that he would trust. And then he takes this line. If he wanted to spin it out for Luffy's favor, like people thought Morgan's would do, he wouldn't have said the headline that he did. He said it on behalf of the world government, which is very, very interesting because, like you're saying, what we were talking about, now he has the real scoop, or he might have had the real scoop about the Reverie this entire time because we know what got posted. Cobra got killed. That might be true. That might be true, but he might have had to spin it out for the Sabo side, right? Vivi and Sabo don't currently have, unless Sabo divulged that he's Luffy's brother. Oh no, they know that Luffy. No, the world doesn't know that Luffy and Sabo are brothers. Just the world government knows, right? Like Akainu knows because of Fujitora. But I don't think anyone else really knows that. But the important thing being that whatever news came out, it would make sense that Vivi was already present there. So whatever news was about the Reverie might have already been from Vivi, if that makes sense. So? Yeah, because Vivi being kidnapped, for example, that might have been Vivi's exact words. That might have been her prerogative. Vivi was kidnapped.
I'm trying to think back to when that happened. I mean, I guess it really depends on like when Vivi showed up here, right?
Well,
because we got the Wapol call mid Onigashima.
Wapol's call, so that was chapter
like 957.
Yeah, let me double check that real quick. This is actually important.
And then we jump over to the Straw Hats going to Egghead Island, and that's when we learn that, you know, Sabo killed King Cobra. Vivi went missing.
Okay. Actually, no, this is different. 956. It's one thing after another. How can so many events be happening at once? I need to perfect the headline for this, but which one goes first? There's been a fatality. Big obituaries sell paper, so that's probably Cobra, right? The vote results are fantabulous too, and an attempted murder. Thrilling stuff. So the attempted murder was them saying that Sabo tried to kill a celestial dragon, I believe. And the vote results, I'm assuming, is the warlord stuff, right? Because then we got the warlords are being hunted. And then they try to pay him. He tried to spin it, CP0. And then after that, King Wapol. So at that point, it would make sense if Wapol's calling him. It might be at that point, Vivi's already with Wapol at that point, right?
And then Wapol's like, hey, pick me up.
So in this story, there wasn't a kidnapping. There was nothing about a kidnapping. So it might be that when Vivi's part came in, that's the other part of it was probably Vivi, if that makes sense.
I could see that. Yeah,
we know that the Sabo stuff was already posted too, because Blackbeard already read it in the poster that Sabo ran up against the admirals. So we know that's already there. Dang, this is interesting because we don't know how long Vivi's been there. But like you're saying, that tomorrow, maybe Vivi... There's a whole expose on what happened.
And here's the thing. Yeah. I feel like, you know how you said the Straw Hats should learn about this around the same time that we learn about it?
Mm-hmm.
They could from Bonnie, because Bonnie was there too.
True.
And Bonnie literally said, hey, like, Sabo, I should tell Straw Hat about this, but I guess I can do it later. So there is still a chance that we could learn about this the same time as the Straw Hats.
True. Okay, that's fair. So yeah, Vivi could do the expose and Bonnie could be showing, but right now it's awkward timing. So that would probably mean that we'd learn about the Reverie later. Unless
every 50 chapters we get one more piece of the Reverie. We had it at 900, 950, 1000, 1050 or 1070. Like, yeah, just wait another 50 chapters and we'll get the conclusion of this.
Yeah, the only way I'd see it breaking up this part is if it directly relates to why the Gorosei is on the move, why CP0 is there. Which, maybe it does, and if it does, then I could see it being inserted right now. But maybe we wait, because I want Kuma's backstory. I want so many things from right now. But
I want to see Kuma get beaten some more.
Oh God, what a way to end
what a way to end it.
Discussion.
Well, with that being said, you guys heard it from Par, not me. Or should I say Mr. Zodiac Killer?
Oh, and, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you forgot about the Zodiac Killer.
Mine is worse because it's more recent. At least you chose a fictional, sort of fictional Jack the Ripper. I got the one that got arrested yesterday.
What are you talking about?
Jack the Ripper was from the 1700s. He's some goofy ass dude. Anyways.
But he was real.
I mean, whether he was real or not, we don't know the stories of him.
And wait, why do you make it sound like the Zodiac Killer was yesterday?
Ew, he got arrested 2 years ago. What do you mean?
What?
Yeah, wasn't it
what are you talking? Wait, what?
Yeah.
No. They didn't arrest him. I just looked it up. It's still a cold case.
What? Wait, then who was the one in California? California. There was one 2 or 3 years ago. It was a cold case for mad long.
I just Googled it. Yeah, no. The Zodiac Killer. They're still they still have no idea. It remains open and unsolved.
Oh, no. They figure out who it was, but he passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, because blood or something.
Or no, he wasn't caught. But that was still a long time. Dude, it's long enough for the Zodiac Killer to be dead, though.
Yeah, but
that's like me saying, I'm gonna call you Genghis Khan next episode, and then you're gonna be like, whoa, that's so recent, Sai. People still have his bloodline. It's like, but he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah, but it's different, okay? This is modern times. Genghis Khan was BC times or something, right? When was Genghis Khan?
All right, next episode, I'm gonna bring in somebody who just has not existed in the past 1,000 years.
We're gonna start future sighting criminals.
We're gonna start future sighting. Par can be the pillow talk killer.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death.
Imagine a few episodes ago, 6 months ago, you said the Merchant of Death, Sai, and then the Merchant of Death is being traded from Russia. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, and then I'm a WNBA player. Oh, no. We have all the players on the board now.
We gotta start making random crazy ass scenarios, because as much as the One Piece world is crazy, that is one of those crazy. And WNBA player gets traded for the Merchant of Death.
That's an Oda plot point, bro. That's gonna that's some Egghead stuff right there.
Yeah, that is.
That's still really funny to me.
Whatever Granger, whatever her name was, I don't remember.
Yeah,
she had Luffy as a Nakama apparently. They said we're friends.
She was Nico Robin. Luffy was Joe Biden.
Do you want to tell me what you want, what you really want, and then you just hear from the cell, I want to live,
and then he goes on and fights CP9.
Except the Merchant of Death is Lucci, and he just gives Lucci away. He frees Lucci for Robin. That's a crazy plot point.
God. Yeah, I mean, One Piece is just a mirror on reality. That's all it is.
It is. That's true. That is your best take yet, Sai.
No. Yeah, it's close to Caesar and Kuma being beaten. I understand, Par. Close second and third. So with that being said,
get beaten? All
right, Kuma getting beaten. Come on, how could you forget? You DM me and said it was your favorite part. It's your new wallpaper, right?
I gotta see the thumbnail for this for this post.
It's just gonna be Kuma.
I dare you to also get the beat down animated.
Oh man, don't tell me. I'm gonna do it. That's gonna be a great meme. That's gonna be a good meme. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, it's done. Consider it done. Well, with that being said, thank you guys for joining the Zodiac Killer and Jack the Ripper for another exciting breakdown of One Piece chapter 1074. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and Par's stuff is linked down below. And if you want to find his actual YouTube channel and not articles about the Zodiac Killer, I'll link that down there too. So that being said, catch you guys later. Peace out.